as China relaxes its strict COVID and consumer buying policies. Alibaba is up some 36%, outperforming all large-cap U.S. tech stocks. So, Jim, is it time to make an exception to your rule that China equities are uninvestable and pivot to the magic carpet ride of Alibaba?
Well, see, David, it's such a great question. And what I've decided is that, you know what, they're just going to have to do it without me. I think it's a manipulated market, Dave. You've known me for a long time. It doesn't mean it can't be manipulated up. I happen to think, by the way, that Bitcoin is being manipulated up, and Ethereum and Solana or Soldana or whatever that one is. I think it's Soldana, someone that was, I think she's a cousin of mine. Anyway, in 2023, we want high-quality companies that can give us growth at a reasonable price. That's Cisco, Johnson Controls, Morgan Stanley, Ralph Lauren, and Bitrue.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And guys, we keep getting the message from Jim Cramer and CNBC to sell cryptos and stocks. And guys, you know on the stock channel I told you the emerging markets would make that liftoff. And we know how they like to price things in. And that's the reason why China stocks have been moving up. Now, we know all of our major corporations are doing business with China. And guys, this has been for decades. And they're also positioning themselves for the future. Remember, guys, they're going to have billions of people come out of poverty to the middle class. So you have J.P. Morgan positioning, American Express positioning. We know Exxon, the Rockefellers are positioning. All these major companies are positioning over in the emerging markets, and of course the major one is China. We know Goldman Sachs. We done seen Elon Musk take pictures with the Chinese leaders. He just lowered the price of Teslas for them. He didn't do it for the Americans. Now guys, we know why stocks and cryptos are up. We know in January we didn't have to worry about the central banks, but I want to make sure you understand this is a temporary pump. I'm not your financial advisor, not financial advice. Please do your own research. Now, don't forget the CPI numbers come out tomorrow. So we know they can spin it either way. We know inflation is coming down, but if it doesn't come down to the point they want, that just gives the Fed more leverage to keep pushing. So we know they can spin it in a good way or a bad way. We just sit back and let it play out. And then, guys, get ready for the AI takeover. Like crypto, they're going to stall on the regulation. They're going to allow robots, algorithms, and drones to take over the economy. The NWO has all the data they need stored in the cloud. And as we can see, Avalanche and Amazon team up. And Avalanche is the first blockchain to form a partnership with Amazon's cloud computing platform. And this will make it easier for developers to launch and manage nodes on Avalanche blockchain. And Amazon's cloud will support for Avalanche's infrastructure and decentralized applications. But guys, we know when AWS goes down, a lot of these projects go down. That's how we know it's all centralized. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
You have been sounding this alarm for a long time, Kyle. You feel like people are starting to listen to you now that the winds have changed?
Yeah, look, Jay's points are great points. One other thing I would say about on the investing side, when you own a Chinese entity, you actually just own a fantasy football share. You don't have a claim to any of their assets, and you have no way to enforce a claim on these assets. So as a fiduciary, you better think twice about investing in China, given what discount rate do you put on Xi Jinping? What discount rate do you put on no real audits? What discount rate do you put on the fact that if things go south, you have no claim to anything? So I think about how the Know Your Customer rule and how our laws work in the United States and how we should be, the SEC is supposed to protect investors. And I believe they need to go a few steps further. So I think people are starting to listen. I was in Washington yesterday. And when you're in D.C., this bipartisan support is actually there. And you look at some of the forced labor bills that have gone through have had unanimous consent. I think you're starting to see the world wake up to this fact that We made a bet on China. Andrew was saying, should we just decouple now? At some point in time, we're going to realize what their real intent is. They don't adhere or abide by our laws. They abide by their own. They are committing genocide in Xinjiang, and every U.S. corporate entity that does business there is very worried about all of the forced labor acts that are coming through, and they're trying to work around them. But you mentioned Goldman Sachs. You mentioned the companies that have businesses in China. If you talk to those companies, have them on TV here, ask them how many of their assets they have there. They all have this asset-light program so that it's Russia today. If it's China tomorrow, they just turn it off. We were at dinner last night with a company that does big business in China, but they have 4 people there. And they said,
I think some do and some don't. I think it's much more.
I think we might reach 90% of online content generated by AI by 2025. So this technology is exponential. I believe that the majority of all digital content is going to start to be produced by AI. You see things like ChatGPT, which millions of people are already playing with to create text, but there are a whole plethora of other platforms and applications that are coming up. There are going to be more coming up in 2023 that generate images, that generate video, like I said, any kind of digital medium. Regulators and policymakers are going to be starting to look at earnest in this space in 2023. I think thus far, I have a policy background myself, the innovation has been so quick that policymakers haven't even figured out or realized what's coming. And basically, this is pulling into the station like a train. Generative AI, that phrase was basically only even coined in the last 12 months. So policymakers, I think, are going to have a lot of work on their hands trying to figure out who should control.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort. And China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.